Right to be Read podcast, episode number 7, Where to Find Writing Ideas.
You are listening to the Right to be Read podcast, and this is your host, Ani Alexander.
Hello everyone and welcome to the Right to be Read podcast, the podcast that encourages and inspires writers to become authors. Before we start the show, I would like to remind you that as my thank you gift for all those who have subscribed and reviewed my podcast, I'm offering 2 free ebooks for writers. The first book features 365 questions which can be used for writing prompts and ideas, journal entries, or self-discovery. The second one is called You Wrote a Book, Now What? It's a comprehensive checklist of all the things that need to be done after your book is complete. But that's not all. Since you are absolutely awesome to support me and my podcast from the very beginning, I decided to offer even more. That is why, on top of the free ebooks, I'm also offering 1-hour free one-on-one coaching sessions to 3 lucky people. In those coaching sessions, I will help you come up with a global strategy and short-term action plan to reach your writing and self-publishing goals. What do you need to do? Well, if you are enjoying the Right to be Read podcast, all you need to do is leave a 5-star review on iTunes before the 1st of August. After that, just shoot me an email at Ani, A-N-I, at anialexander.com and I will send the ebooks your way. As for the coachings, at the end of the period, 3 of you will be randomly chosen and I will contact you to schedule our Skype call. Okay, now we can finally start this episode. Today I would like to talk to you about writing ideas. How many times have you been stuck? How many times have you realized that it is time to update your blog or start writing your next book, but you did not have any idea what to write about? When you get to that stage, you recall the unexplainable term called writer's block and use it as an excuse. Well, to be honest, I personally don't really believe in writer's block. Even more, I think that writer's block have only the writers who believe that it exists. And I think that there are always things to write about. You just have to look around, pay attention, and see those. So, let's talk about where you could get ideas about topics you could write. I came up with a list of different things and I'll share them with you now. Let's start with the blogs. You can read blogs of the topics that interest you and see which are the most popular posts so you know also what the audience is interested in. And pay attention to what those posts are about and write up a blog post about the same subject but from your personal point of view, using your opinion. And then it will not be the same post anymore. It will be your post. The same can be done with the magazines. Just leaf through magazine articles and see what you can find there. I'm absolutely sure there will come up something really interesting in there. Great sources are books, both fiction and non-fiction. You can go through any book and I'm sure that they will evoke different topics and thoughts in you. Just make sure that you make notes or highlights and get back to them later on. Also, a very interesting thing which I really love doing is overhearing dialogues and paying attention to those, because people talk a lot. Often you can hear dialogues in public transportation, in waiting rooms, shopping malls, cafes, basically everywhere where there are people. Pay attention to those dialogues and maybe you will come up with new topics, because those dialogues are about life and those dialogues are real. So I'm sure that you will come up with something. Also, movies. When I get stuck, I dedicate the evening to watch movies. I don't think about that I'm supposed to write and I don't know what to write about. I just enjoy the the movie. It distracts me from the thoughts and anxiety, and at the end of the movie something comes up and I know what I will be writing about the next day. Also, there are many forums where people discuss topics they are passionate about. They share knowledge, discuss things, seek help. There are so many different things you can read in those forums, and you can notice different trends there, and later on cover some of the topics you've seen there as well. Also, get some inspiration. And art brings great inspiration. It's a great source of inspiration. So visit museums, galleries, exhibitions, go to theater. Just make sure that you get closer to the art and it will make its job. Also, the same goes for the music. Not only the music inspires, but also you can pay attention to the song lyrics, and those may provoke different useful thoughts. And especially, I've noticed myself that personally for me, rock ballads are very good in terms of ideas, because they are lyric-based songs and the lyrics is quite nice there. So you end up coming up with some situations you would like to describe later on. Also, very often we don't really go deep about what we talk with friends. But if we pay attention to those topics and what friends talk about, and we become active listeners, we will notice ideas which otherwise we didn't pay attention to. Well, sometimes when you're stuck, you can just go to internet and Google different quotes about many things. And the search results will bring a list of websites which will include different inspirational quotes, different quotes about different subjects, and I'm sure you can pick up some things from there as well. Also, you can go back to history, because different historical events and characters may bring up new thoughts and ideas to write about. The other thing which I've noticed, that changing the environment and seeing new things is the best way to come up with new ideas. So every time I have a trip and I travel to somewhere, some new place, I end up having different notes of ideas to write about, and different books in my mind which I'm planning to write in the future. Also, children are the most creative people. So if you observe them and see what they do and say, I'm sure you will come up with something to write about. Pay attention also to your dreams. Write down your dreams even, because they may become part of your fiction novel later on. Why not? Free writing. Just, take a pen and a paper and sit down and write whatever comes to your mind. Don't think that it needs editing. Don't think that people will be reading it. Just write anything that comes to your mind, and the flow will lead you to somewhere. And write or type, but I prefer that you write, because I think we don't do it very often, and there is something really magical in handwriting. And when you do it and later on go through what you've written, I'm sure you will find something very important there. Also, brainstorming. I mean, before I thought that brainstorming was supposed to be with different people around a certain subject. Now I think a bit differently, because I had so many brainstorming sessions with myself, you can't even imagine. So just do it yourself, open a mind map, write down any ideas that come to your mind without filtering them out, and you will end up with something you didn't even expect. What inspires me also are different success stories of people who achieved something exceptional. And I love reading about success and the fact that those successful people are not superheroes, but they're people just like me and you. So it encourages a lot, and I end up being fueled up and motivated to move forward. Also, people watching. I often watch people and try to imagine who they are, why are they there, for example, in a metro or in a cafe, or why are they walking down the street? What kind of life do they have? And I start imagining their lives, their houses, their families in my mind, and it leads to follow-up thoughts. A thought brings another thought, and I end up with a pretty nice fiction story. Also, why not think about yourself? Not other people, but you and your life. I'm sure that if you look back to your life, you will find many things to write about. Your mistakes, the lessons learned, your achievements, your dreams, your childhood stories, etc., etc. There are plenty of things you can write about. You can also write about other people's lives. For example, my first novel, High Fall, was based on a true story of my best friend's life. So you can look through the lives of people you know, your friends, your colleagues, people you studied at school, etc. Recall the most interesting life stories and derive ideas from there as well. Besides that, when you look at the photography, when you look at different photos which inspire, provoke thoughts, and there are many photos which themselves tell a story. So you can just take a shoot, take a photo to look at and come up with a story that the photo tells and just retell it yourself in your own words. Also, I'm sure that during different periods of your life, you've been asked many different questions. People are very curious, so they ask different questions about you and your life. Just you can recall about which were the most frequent questions you've been asked, and most probably those are the ones which people are interested in. And maybe you can come up with different stories which will be answering those questions. Why not? Also, there is an easy way out. If you don't know what to write about, you just go to your social networks, post a question on your Facebook, on your Twitter, go to the groups you're active in, and you just straight away ask people, say, okay, I'm having this blog post coming up. I don't know what I should write about, what you would be interested in. Just throw some ideas to me. And I'm absolutely sure that there will be many people which will be willing to support you and will come up with different ideas. And the last thing, which I think can be quite useful as well, is go back and read what you have written before. And maybe something will come up where maybe you've written things which may need some further development, or which will lead you to further ideas to develop later on. So just go back, see what you've written, and I'm absolutely sure that you haven't written everything about that topic, so you can elaborate later on. So that's it for now, I guess. I wish you to forget about the writer's block, to believe that it does not exist, and even if it does, it has absolutely nothing to do with you. Go back and think about different ideas. Look in those places I mentioned for different new ideas, and go ahead and start writing. So I wish you plenty of ideas and very productive writing week. Take care, have a nice day, and see you in the next episode. That was it for now. Bye.